Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our Black History Month segment for Her Collective Circle. I want to start off by just saying, read the title. Our pain has always been real. And before we go anywhere else, if you're in this room, whether you're living with PCOS, endometriosis, IC, or any other condition that has been minimized or ignored, your pain is real and has always been real. So tonight we're going to talk about what that dismissal comes from, what it has cost us, and what we're building together to change it. So tonight is not just about education. It's about a healing space. So take a breath because you're in the right space. And we have a short presentation for you all. So let's go ahead and move on to the next slide. All right, so let's start with the history because that's why we are navigating this today, right? So it didn't begin with us. So let's take it back to the 1800s. A doctor named J. Marion Sims, who was often called the father of modern gynecology, used to perform experimental surgeries on enslaved Black women without anesthesia. Like, that's crazy. And his justification for that was that he believed that Black women felt less pain and that we were built differently, and that we could endure more. So it's really rooted in our ancient history, sitting in textbooks itself. So that belief that Black women have a higher pain tolerance, that we can endure more, is still alive in exam rooms today. Right? That's crazy for us, right? And studies have shown that Black patients are undertreated for pain compared to white women with the same exact conditions. That is a documented fact and is rooted in a lie told centuries ago to justify harm. Our pain was never less. It was just ignored. Moving on to the next slide. So the data backs up what we already know in our bodies. Let's look at three numbers here. 2 times. Black women wait twice as long in emergency rooms for pain treatment as white patients presenting the same symptoms. Same pain, same chart, different treatment. 11 years. That is the average diagnostic delay for endometriosis. For Black women, it is even longer, because our pain is more likely to be dismissed on the first visit, the second visit, and the third. And 40% Black patients are significantly less likely to receive adequate pain management, even when that pain is documented right there in the chart. So these numbers are not a reflection of our strength. It is not about, it is not a compliment. It is a system failure. And we name it clearly so we can begin to dismantle it. Now, I want to talk about this dismissal, actually, because we have all heard versions of these words. It's probably just stress. Your pain tolerance should be higher. Have you tried losing weight? Everything looks normal. These are not just frustrating moments. These are moments that delay diagnosis. These are moments that have sent women home in pain, that did not have to be in pain. This made us really question ourselves when the problem was never us. So I want to say this clearly, not about being dismissed. Nothing about being dismissed feels normal. You were right to keep pushing and advocating for yourself. So if you're ever in these rooms where you're feeling not heard, speak up. Try to advocate as much as possible for yourself, because you know your own body, and someone deserves to listen. So I do want to open up the floor real quick. What is one thing you wish a doctor had said to you instead? So share with someone near you, or if you're watching on Facebook, or if you're watching on YouTube, just share your experiences with other women and other people that may be going through similar situations. All right, so moving on. When we talk about PCOS, endometriosis, and IC in Black women, we cannot talk about them in isolation because our bodies are not living in isolation. What does that mean? So, racial stress lives in the nervous system. The chronic stress of navigating bias, microaggression, and systematic barriers activates our fight or flight response over and over again. That has been real psychological, and it has worsened. It worsens inflammation in your body as well, which in turn amplifies pain. So things like environmental injustice, Black and brown communities have been placed near industrial sites and pollutants for generations. We personally have an experience with environmental justice in our homes. And those exposures really affect your hormones and reproductive health in ways that research is just now beginning to document. And also, generational trauma is not a metaphor. What our grandmothers survived, what they went through, that was, they were never really allowed to grieve or process. They were pretty much in survival mode, right? So that shows up in your body, and it also shows up in your nervous system, and in other patterns of pain. So healing for us has to include the whole story, not just the symptoms, the whole story. So just to do a temperature check, like I said, if you're still here with us, understand that these factors play a role in your pain. So when you're experiencing these types of pain, understand it's not just you. There's other different environmental factors, systematic factors, and even generational traumas that affect, how you receive pain and how you deal with it. So it can show up in so many ways, especially with our conditions. So let's move on to the next slide. All right, so I want us to shift for a moment because as real as all of this is, the history, the data, the dismissal, Black women have never stopped healing each other. Before there were gynecologists, there were midwives. Before there were therapists, there were kitchen table conversations. And before there were wellness apps, there were root workers in community circles. Women knew what to use and how to hold each other through pain. The medical system has refused to see this. And, that wisdom is in us. And I like to hold a special a place for us because over history, you see this show up time and time again within our community. So, so yeah, we have always cared and known how to care for each other when the system could not. And this is what her collective circle is. It's rooted just not in modern wellness, not just in medical advocacy, but knowing that Black women have carried this carried us for generations. And we deserve to be believed, to be held, to heal, just like anybody else. So like to also, once again, open the floor up to just, pausing and thinking about, some of the grandmothers, the influential people in your life, what have their presence been for you? Take a moment to hold that person in mind. I know for me, growing up, I had, strong Black women around me all the time. And that has truly made a difference in how I actually, just move around and hold space for myself. Next slide. So, what does the care we deserve actually look like? Let's name it out loud. So, you deserve a provider who believes you the first time, not the third time, not the time you done cried in the office or in your car, the first time. A provider who documents your concerns without questioning, who writes it down before deciding, what to do with it. A provider who explores the root cause instead of sending you home with ibuprofen and a referral to lose weight. I don't know how many of y'all have experienced that, but I know I've been told several times, oh, it's just the weight, you need to just try to move your body, exercise. And I'm like, I'm an athlete. Like, it gotta be something else going on other than me having to lose weight. And having PCOS, if you know, it's hard to lose weight. So, yeah. So also a provider who sees your cultural context as relevant, not inconvenience, not as an inconvenience, and someone who understands that your stress, your environment, and your history all matters to your care. And then also a provider who treats you with dignity every single visit, no exceptions. This is not what you are receiving right now. I mean, if this is not what you're receiving right now, you have every right to seek better options. Y'all, you do not have to take the first opinion, get a second opinion, understand that you have options and that there is a solution, right? So, and don't think that you're being difficult. That's really just advocating for yourself. So, um, let's see. And one of the, key messages here is, I'm
Can
sorry,
I ask?
go ahead.
Can
Girl,
I ask?
stop me.
When you said advocate, and the reason you said get a second option, I just want to speak on my own behalf. Um, I got a second option. I started out with a urologist and, you know, a black urologist, I'm gonna say that. Not saying that he was a bad doctor or anything like that, but I just feel like he did not listen the way I think he should have listened when I was trying to explain to him what I was feeling, how I was feeling, because I was constantly having the same pain. He diagnosed me right off the rip, no problems with that. But far as treatment, um, he wanted to do a clinical trial. And I'm just like, I'm not doing it. So I looked for a second opinion and I found a urogynecologist, and probably one of the best decisions I made because he actually listened. He took the time to see what treatment options that I wanted to go. He didn't force medication on me. He didn't force a clinical trial on me or anything like that. He actually listened and asked me what type of treatment options that I was looking for. So I just wanted to add that to that.
Yes, totally. When I was in Nashville, it took 3 gynecologists to like pinpoint where my pain was coming from. And I ended up actually seeing a black physician. And she ran the test. She like, asked me questions. She was like, we're not gonna stop until we figure this out. And I feel like, being in Alabama, I'm sure there's plenty of great doctors here, but um, women's healthcare and like dealing with these types of conditions takes so much longer to like diagnose. When you find that good doctor, stick with them because they're going to be your best advocate, but you're going to be your best advocate as well. So, um, and seeking better care is not disloyalty to your doctor, it's loyalty to yourself because at the end of the day, you're the one being affected. You're the one that has to walk that path. So, if you're able to get a good team on your side, that is the most, I feel like, important stepping stone to like really coming up with a solution for yourself. And we'll talk more about like holistic cares and things like that outside of Western medicine, but starting there is key. Seriously, find someone who will listen. All right. All right. So let's get practical because sometimes we walk into appointment, sometimes thinking, something is wrong and still don't know how to make them listen. So here are three phases you can use. Write them down on your phone, on a piece of paper. You don't have to memorize them, but just know that they exist. So phrase one is I need you to document in my chart that you are choosing not to investigate this. This creates a paper trail and shifts the dynamic immediately. Make sure you say this again. I need you to document in my chart that you are choosing not to investigate this. Because now, if you've been to the doctor multiple times and, they're continuing to say the same thing, brush it off. If something goes wrong, you have all right to circle back to this because it's documented that you're actually complaining about, maybe it's pain or something like that. So, always collect paper trails, y'all. And for phase two, how long has this symptom been in my chart without follow-up? This holds them accountable to their own records in real time. Phase three, I would like a referral to a specialist who has experience with this condition. You don't have to ask permission. You don't have to soften it. That is your right. And you do not have to be polite when your health is on the line, y'all. Sometimes it takes, I know they'd be like, the angry Black woman, but we honestly have to speak up for ourselves. Otherwise, you don't have to be ghetto. You don't have to be out, doing all the extra stuff, but really be firm and clear in your ask. And if it helps, bring someone with you that can also advocate for you. So I want to open this up. Oh, I just seen the slide is cut off, but think about this for a moment. Which of these feels the hardest to say out loud? Let's talk about it. Let's practice it together. Maria, does this like one of these stick out to you?
What the phases?
Yeah.
I would like yep, I would like a referral to a specialist who has experience with this condition. And
Right.
I feel like most doctors that really are for you wouldn't even have an issue with you asking that, quite honestly. If they really want to get to the nitty-gritty of what's going on with you and they feel like you need a second opinion or they feel like they just need a second set of eyes to kind of figure it out, then by all means, and like she said, don't be polite. It's your health we dealing with or whatever condition you may be dealing with. So I feel like it's always good to ask if you feel the need to.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. All right. So one of the things we know is that research is only the beginning to catching up to this. Excuse me. And that is, I'm sorry, back up. So one of the things that we know is that research is just now catching back up to this, right? So that is community is medicine, really. So when we feel seen, we feel believed, when we feel alone, when we feel in our pain, that really changes our nervous system, and that changes how we heal. And being in a room where your experiences is not questioned is a form of care. And her collective circle exists because Black and Brown women deserve a space where their pain is believed, their stories are honored, and their healing is centered, mind, body, and spirit. And we host these monthly live circles like this. We offer healing resources, advocacy tools, community support, and a private, safe space to be your full self. So if you're dealing with something and you want to drop it in our community group, share it because somebody else may be dealing with the same thing that you are. So if you're not already plugged in, I personally am, and I I'm tongue tied today, guys. I'm sorry. I am personally inviting you to join and be a part of our community because you belong here and you deserve the support. And we're glad you're tuning into this live tonight, even though I can't get my words out. We're going to move on to our next slide. And before I hand it over, I do want to close this portion by saying that so many of us needed to hear this years ago. It is not normal. We are not dramatic. Your body tells the truth. Every woman who was sent home in pain, you know, and you had real pain, obviously, um, every woman typically is told to come back in 6 months. Every woman has Googled their symptoms at 2 in the morning because no one would listen. She was not wrong. She was not too much. Like she's been surviving, right? So, surviving the system that has, not been built for her. And we are building something for her, for us, for every woman who comes after us, who deserves to be believed from the very first appointment. We see you. We believe you. We are healing together. So I want to pass it to Maria for our Black History Spotlight. And I will pass it on to you.
All right. I hope you guys enjoyed the slide so far. I'm a little tired, but bear with me. So, the woman I want to honor tonight is Dr. Jocelyn Elders. And if you do not know her name, you're about to. In 1993, President Clinton appointed Dr. Jocelyn Elders as the United States Surgeon General. She was the first Black person and the first woman to ever hold that position. She was born in Arkansas, a town so small it barely existed on a map. She grew up in poverty and she went on to become the highest ranking health official in the country. But what I love most about Dr. Elders is that she did not just hold the seat, she used it. She fought for comprehensive sex education for young people when that conversation was considered untouchable. She advocated for expanded healthcare access in rural and underserved communities. She spoke the truth about reproductive health in rooms where no one wanted to hear it. She was eventually forced to resign because she was too honest, too bold, too unapologetic about what people deserve to know about their own bodies. And even after they pushed her out, she kept going. She proved that Black women from the Royal South can hold the nation's highest health seat and use it to fight for everyone who had been left out. That is the energy her collective circle runs on. Okay.
So another woman that we wanted to highlight for Black History is a woman whose work is the direct foundation for the history we just walked through tonight. Harriet A. Washington is a medical historian and author. Her book Medical I'm sorry, I can't pronounce it. Apartheid is the first full documented account of how Black women were used as unwilling subjects of medical experiments. Oh my gosh, I can't get it out tonight, guys. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
From slavery to the present day. She names the J. Marion Sims. She's named J. Marion Sims. She names the Tuskegee study. She names the sterilization program that forced research in the myth that Black women bodies feel differently. She put it all on the record and with evidence. So none of us could ever be told it didn't happen. Her work led directly to the AMA issuing a formal apology to Black physicians in 2008. It contributed to the removal of the J. Marion statue in Central Park in 2018. And she really started, real change because one woman decided the truth mattered more than comfort. She once said, "History is science. History and science are only as pure as subjects as the people who practice them." The quote lives in me because it's exactly why we are here tonight, to correct the record and to heal from what the record has cost us. All right, so we're going to move on. Pass it back to Maria.
All right. Here are some common questions and suggested responses.
Wrong slot.
Oh, hold on.
With the Indo Black.
Oh, my bad. Okay. Indo Black Inc. was founded in 2019 by Lauren Cornegay. Cornegay? Cornegay? A young woman from Oxon Hill, Maryland, who was diagnosed with endometriosis at just 20 years old. She went looking for a community that looked like her. She could not find one, so she built it herself. That is the kind of response we honor here. Today, Indo Black is a Black woman led nonprofit connecting thousands of Black and Brown women living with endometriosis across the country. They run an ambassador program, a health equity and racial injustice initiative, and educational resources built specifically for us. They are also part of the Women's Health Research Collaborative, fighting for research that finally centers Black women and endometriosis science. Because for too long, the research did not include us. And what you do not study, you cannot treat. You can learn more at endoblack.org. If endometriosis is a part of your story, we encourage you to connect with them. What are what they are building is exactly what her collective is building, just for that specific community. All right. So is it one more slide or that was the last slide?
This is the last one.
Okay. So we have some common questions and also some suggested responses. What if my doctor still won't listen after those phrases? You have every right to request a second opinion, ask for a patient advocate, or find a new provider. Your healthcare is not a relationship you are required to stay in. Her collective circle can help connect you with culturally affirming resources. That is one of the reasons we exist. So I feel like I'm being too much when I push back. You're not being too much. You have been conditioned to make yourself smaller in medical spaces. That conditioning was intentional. Advocating for your health is not dramatic, it is survival. And you deserve support while you do it. And I know I said that part, but I also want to kind of elaborate on it when it says I feel like I'm being too much when I push back. Or did we run out of time? Oh, I thought we ran out of time. But I was just saying because with me working in the medical field, I see this a lot with patients. A lot of them do not want to speak up for themselves simply because they're afraid of what doctors are going to think of them, what doctors may or may not do for them. So a lot of times they sit and suffer, and a lot of them look like people like us that are the ones are afraid to speak up. I'm just being honest. How do I get more involved with her collective circle? Join us at hercollectivecircle.com. We have monthly live circles, a private community space, healing resources, and advocacy tools, all built for women of color with PCOS, endometriosis, and IC. We would love to have you deeper in this community. We do have TikTok, we have Instagram, and we also have Facebook, and we also have a private support group wherever you're listening from. How is Indo Black different from her collective circle? Indo Black, hold on just a second. Indo Black focuses specifically on Black women with endometriosis, advocacy research, and community for diagnoses. Her collective circle holds a broader space: PCOS, endometriosis, interstitial cystitis, and the full intersection of chronic illness, chronic reproductive illnesses, health equity, and holistic healing for women of color. They are complementary, not competing. We love what they are building. Thank you for showing up. This works matters. You have anything, Miss Diamond?
No, I just want to say thank you all for hanging in there with us. It is almost 11 o'clock at night, and as y'all can tell, we are struggling to keep our eyes open. So, um, wanted to just make sure that we got around to our circle and honoring Black history. Like I said, thank you all once again, and stay tuned for some upcoming things from her collective circle as we continue to grow. Like, share this live. Once again, we have to get at least 100 members in our community in order to go live. So the more that y'all share and the more that y'all, pass this to somebody that could use this, we can grow our community. So thank you all and happy Black History Month. And that's all for me. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Like, share, and comment.